Is there ever a time where something was not working day of, like something failed, whatever happened, you had to pivot?
Maybe the second or third year of owning my own company, like I had a small tour going and we were taking a structure around to 8 different locations in the US. I had hired a trucking provider, going to the one in Detroit. Truck just never showed up.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't find him. Didn't find him for 48 hours. The whole structure for their event, like, never showed up.
Did you find it ever?
We found it, but it never showed up for that event. We ended up having to rent a tent.
No.
And put it in there. It'll raise your haggles of being a business owner, realizing, wow, that just cost me like $20,000 or whatever it was.
And that's on you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's not for the faint of heart owning a business. That's what I've learned over time. The reward outvalues the risk, for me in the end, but good luck.
Welcome to the Gigs Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Sanz, founder and CEO of Gigs, the professional career platform for the live event industry. On this podcast, we are talking to the very best in the touring and live event industry to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, and the unreal moments of life gigging and lessons learned on the road. Today's guest is Shawn Worlow, the founder and president of the Production Collective, the team behind some of the most large-scale events in the country. The NFL Draft, Formula One Las Vegas, SEMA Fest, March Madness Music Festival, and many more. He's also the founder of Collective Payroll, a company that simplifies workforce management for events. So he's got 30 years of experience across touring and special events. He's the guy you call on when things need to run smoothly. He's an expert in city permitting, labor coordination, and sponsor relations. Site builds, basically everything no one in the audience ever sees, but every show depends on. So Shawn, welcome to the Gigs Podcast.
Oh, thank you.
So you really work on some of the most high pressure shows out there. You got F1, the NFL Draft, March Madness. When does adrenaline really kick in for you?
That's a great question. I would say that the adrenaline never really kicks in because in the event space, for me, like when a show is starting, generally speaking, I'm in the office because my work is done and there's another team that is going to functionally operate the show. And if I've done my job, the show day is my day off, really.
Whoa.
So
can you talk about that? So that's the day of. People are more of that operations.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's break that down.
Particularly in the event space, right? Like we spend a lot of time on the front end planning the event, right? So it's all the master planning. It's building out the event site, the layout, how we're going to do it, working with all the municipalities and stakeholders really inside the event space. And so when we get to a show day, I mean, if you take the NFL Draft, for example, like I turn that over a week prior to the show so that broadcast and the NFL and all the stakeholders, have time in the theater. They're doing tours, they're doing shows leading up to the draft.
Got it.
And so we're way out in front of it. But there is adrenaline. I mean, there's a lot of excitement around, in this scenario, the NFL Draft, the first round, the picks and the commissioner coming out and the opening of the show. There is a lot of excitement and adrenaline around that. But again, the rest of my team and the other stakeholders and vendors and people we've brought in to handle the work are really the ones that are the boots on the ground getting it done at that point. And so
true success is being able to feel calm on a show day. Is that
you
don't really want to feel excited?
I would say that is true.
Yeah,
I mean, you want anticipation, you want the crowd to be excited. And for me, I want my client and the end client and everyone to be really happy and feel like the vision for what they wanted to deliver to their audience is what we're able to deliver.
Okay. Got it. What is something like, how long have you been doing the draft?
I have been on the NFL Draft for 10 years since it left New York. So started in Chicago. Yeah, I'm bad with dates, so let's not. Let me not date it. But
what's your least favorite city to have to do a big event in like that? What's the hardest one that you take so much more time?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that question, but I will say that some cities are easier than others.
Yeah.
And it can be jurisdictional, it can be labor markets, it can be a number of different things. There are places I would prefer not to work, and there are places that I love to go. But they're not all without their challenges, right? Like none of it's cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And it's always different, and every market, particularly when you get in these really high profile events where there's political implications and like who you're using and what you're doing and how you're approaching it. It's kind of a different level. So like way different than the music touring world where I started, where I would say that there was adrenaline every night, because when you're standing out there and the lights go out and whatever star walks on stage and all these people are there to see them, like that's the moment where the love for this is born, I think. But I've heard a million people say that. I think anyone you ever ask that question to that works in this industry, particularly in the music touring world, will say the same thing, that
that's when it is.
It's that moment, right?
Yeah.
And that might change over time a little bit for people as you're in it longer and find different things you love within it. But in the end, that energy, and that's what it is, right? It's a people transferring energy, like in a mass setting or a group setting, it's a very real thing. So
tell me about starting in touring. Now where you are, we're going to get back to that. But what was that first tour you went on?
Well, yeah, fascinating story. I had a non-conventional route into touring. I grew up in a cornfield, like a very small town in southern Illinois, and my guidance counselor told me to go to college and be an accountant. There was never any mention of working for your favorite band and getting paid for it. So I owe him a throat punch probably if I ever see him again. But so what I did, I actually graduated high school. I went to college for a semester, didn't enjoy it, and ended up doing an internship with a parachurch organization, like a Christian organization. And they happened to have a touring event that they would do like 20 weekends a year. And so at that internship, I got assigned to be on the touring crew. And they taught me to shoot pyrotechnics. So that was my very first job in the business, shooting pyro. I was trained by like a 23-year-old, and I was like 20. So how we never killed anybody on those shows it's probably a whole nother podcast for that. But yeah.
It's crazy that there's so much. I mean, we should have way more issues, I feel like. And
this was another level. I mean, you're talking 1996. So it was a little different safety standards and how things were approached then. But
yeah.
So I did that internship. It was supposed to be a 12-month program. I spent 18 months there so I could finish the leg of the tour I was on. I went back to college for a couple years. When I was in college, I continued to work as a local stagehand for the IATSE. I worked in the arena on the college campus I was at. And I got a call from that ministry, I guess about 2 or 2.5 years after I started back to college. They offered me a job to come back and be the lighting director and to drive a semi for them. And I thought, well, let's do it. I had gotten my CDL when I drove for them originally. So I went back and did that for maybe 8 months. And then they offered me the production manager position. Right place, right time. I was way over my skis. Probably a role I should have never been in with the knowledge base I had, but as a figure it out kind of guy, I was like, I'm just going to go for it, and jumped in and went for it. That turned into them starting to do multiple, like they were doing 2 weekends at the same time. So they owned all their gear originally, but they needed to rent. So I met Mike Golden at Bandit Lights during that window of time. Bandit was kind enough to offer me positions in the summertime when I wasn't working directly for the ministry. So I went out and did like my first secular tour in maybe 2001 with Brooks and Dunn.
Okay.
So did that.
As what?
I was a lighting crew chief. I was a lighting tech or lighting crew chief on that tour. I don't remember.
Got it.
But did a couple of summer tours with them and continued working for the ministry. The ministry started doing big stadium shows like Promise Keepers for teenagers.
Wow.
And that led me to meet the guys at Nocturne Productions, which was a big video company back in the day, and still a great team of people under a new name now. But so I worked for them. So I started doing video tours as well, and I went to work for them kind of on a more full-time basis, and really worked full-time with them till about 2012.
Got it.
And then did one-off tours and was dabbling in events and other things like all during that time. So I had a crazy trajectory into the business. I truly did everything. I carped on a tour. I was a rigger on a tour for one summer. I was lighting crew chief, video guy. Yeah. I drove a truck. The only thing I've never done is audio. So sorry, audio guys. I guess I didn't have the ears for that or something, but
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously you're thrown in, you're learning how to drive a truck, you're doing lighting. production managing the church, and then you're going on tour. Are you doing a bunch of different tours because you're with the vendor, or are you like, what is that?
No, I mean, so working for the ministry, they were a singular show.
Okay.
Right. And it was just 20 weekends a year, the same show week after week. And they would play arenas or like mega churches.
Okay.
Occasional convention center ballrooms, but they were mixed shows. Like their smallest ones, as I remember, like maybe 3,500 people up to like 10, 12,000 people at their like big ones. Like we do the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington. And that was one of their big markets. And we'd put like 10 or 12,000 people in there, like in the mid late 90s.
So then when you go over and you start working lighting on tour, and then you're a carp, like how does something like that come up? If you're a video guy and someone's like, hey, can you do this and just be a carp? How do you learn that? How do you know?
Well, the carpenter one was funny. I was on Keith Urban, and I actually went from being a lighting guy, and they were doing a summer tour. They weren't going to carry a bunch of gear, and I was still wanted to work and really loved that camp, and so went to work directly for the artist. And
got it.
Carping was the role. I actually carped and rigged on that tour because our normal tour rigger couldn't do a couple months in the summertime. So, and it was small, like you're hanging 12 or 14 points. It wasn't anything crazy. But
early in Keith's career, then I assume.
And let me be super clear: I'm not a rigger.
Okay.
Did not aspire to be a rigger.
Great.
But it was one of those like, hey, can you carp and maybe cover this? And I'm like, yeah.
Just figure it out.
Yeah.
Would you say that any role on tour is you can just figure it out, besides audio, maybe?
No.
Okay.
No, probably not just figure it out. I mean, I don't think you're going to be the video engineer or the director or, the LD and just figure it out. But from the tech side of things, yes.
Yeah.
I think if you're, using common sense and paying attention and understand like the basic things of like how to tech something, like is it plugged in? Is the signal flow working? Is the, they're all very similar in that sense from the technical standpoint, but, mixing audio and what that takes and understanding it. And I don't even understand it, but I would imagine mixing audio or being the lighting director or the video director or something like that they're all very different talents. So I think those are things that take time and probably and some education, whether it be real world or school.
Doing all these different roles, what did you realize were your talents?
I'm just good at like networking, at putting people together, at figuring things out. Like if I didn't know, I would like fake it till you make it. That was definitely the thing. But I would always look for resources or call the right people or find out what I needed to know to like be successful at whatever I was trying to do. Right.
Okay.
So always willing to learn. And yeah, I think that's the key is just, being a go-getter, self-motivated and willing to learn.
You're doing tour. You're for about 15 years or so? You're touring?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably about right. Okay. 15 years straight touring. Yeah.
Did you have a family at this time or?
I did. I got married like really young. So I did not have children early on. I think our first son was born in 2006. So I'd been on the road for 5 or 6 years and got married in 99. So yeah, I was on the road 6 years, married 6 years before we had our first kid. So, So yeah, I was definitely doing it all.
How is that, especially when you get married young and you're kind of figuring out life together? How do you explain this industry to your spouse when you're going to be gone for a while? Or someone says, hey, can you pick up this summer and you're gone for a summer?
I don't know if you can really explain it. You just have to find a special person that can deal with it, truthfully. I've been around it a long time. I know a lot of divorced people. And I've heard a lot of stories of sometimes there's a very amicable divorce and understanding, and sometimes it was you find out horrible things while you're on the road because you happen to see something on a camera phone while you're talking to your house. Like, it's all over the map. So I really don't think you can factor this in you just have to find somebody that is, and it's going to sound weird to say, like independent and can live their own life and isn't codependent on needing you around to find their purpose or sense of what they're doing. Because if you're really in this, like you're not going to be around. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the long and short of it. But I will say that I have found, or I'm seeing more in the last, I don't know, let's call it 5 to 10 years, like a more like accepting community in the entertainment space of like, okay, cool, you're on a tour, but you need to miss a week because you have to go to a wedding or a funeral or something. Like there's a more willingness from the tours and the event space to be like, hey, we get it. Like life doesn't stop because we're doing this and we'll figure it out. I can tell you in my first 15 to 20 years on the road, I very much felt obligated, like I could never leave. Yeah. Like when you're on a tour, particularly if you're like a leadership role or like crew chief or running a part of a tour, like it was challenging to say the least to leave. I missed a lot of funerals and weddings and just life events because the show must go on. And I do think there is a balance to that for people to realize like, hey, just because my job doesn't mean my personal life and family life and everything else has to stop and be second fiddle to that. So
good changes. You know, sometimes I ask like, how do you feel about that? Some people are like, well, no, I had to do this, so now everyone gets it easier than I do. But ultimately, good change for the industry.
Oh, I think so for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
You have to prioritize your life to some extent, and it's hard to do. Yeah, it's really hard to do when your financial dependence is tied to what you're trying to prioritize too. So it's you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, and you went from being gone a lot, touring, to then being an entrepreneur and starting your own company, the Production Collective, which I can imagine didn't help your work-life balance.
No, definitely not.
Tell me about that transition and what made you start it.
Well, funny, I started a company, different name, but I started a company in 2005, mostly because I was touring and they started withholding taxes in like every state we'd stop in. And I was like, I don't want to file 36 state tax returns because I did 6 tours this year.
Oh my gosh.
And they like took taxes out everywhere we went. So I started a little entity, and with the company I was working for at the time, I said, hey, I would like to start an entity, just have you pay me 1099, like pay my company, I'll take care of paying myself. And so they were gracious enough that they would do that. So I went and got myself some work comp insurance and had a little company and started just getting paid that way. So even all those years I worked for Nocturne and other companies, I was traditionally not on their payroll. So you might have to date check me on some of this, but I guess around 2017, I was doing some work for C3 Presents, and they asked if I could staff stage managers and pay them. And because I had an entity, I thought, I could probably figure that out. And so, called my insurance broker, figured out how to cover some other people. And that was kind of the start of it. Started staffing a few stage managers.
Because you knew the people.
Yeah, it was a mix. I knew some people and they had some people. Like, they were just outsourcing temp payroll. So they were hiring people, putting them on a temp payroll. I really just became the temp payroll service maybe that first year because the 2 or 3 stage managers that I hired were people they knew and just said, hey, we're not going to put them on our full-time payroll. Can you help out with this? So sure. And then that continued to just grow. So more shows add, more festivals add, more stages to do, more peripheral production to take care of. Just one thing snowballed into the next, and that keeps growing.
So like started with just a few stage managers. How many people were you staffing per year through this?
Oh, I'd really have to dig into numbers, but those, the first couple of years, like 7 to 20 people total across all the shows. But as you do a few, and the people you're working for say something to another promoter that they're doing a show on, of like, hey, maybe these guys could help you out, and that turns into a phone call, which turns into another gig, which leads to the next thing. So it was just it's just a big networking game. I think it's probably been tons of talk on this podcast or just in general in our industry. We are a networking industry, right? Like we live on referrals. Like who do you know? Who's doing what this week? I need to fill a hole over here. And we're always sharing names or passing around, who we loved working with, who did a great job, who's an up and comer, So it really grew like kind of by word of mouth. And then truthfully, like the opportunity that I got in working with C3 Presents, just opened a ton of doors. They're like the premier festival producer in the country, and to start doing work for them. And, we wanted to go in and do a great job and really impress them and make sure that we were producing to the standard that they hold for their shows. And I think once we were doing that, like it was kind of the floodgates. That name opened a lot of doors. So
what do you look for in stage managers for a festival?
It's funny, I say like festival stage managers are mini production managers. So like in most of the model shows that we work on, the stage manager doesn't select the vendors or set the schedule, like the overarching build schedule. But then after that, they do everything. So they're advancing with the vendor of what's going on their stage, when the artists are coming in, how that's going to flow, the day of operation. So they're like mini PMs, I think is just the best way to say it. And then they also need that stage manager capability where they can run the crews, they can work with every artist coming in on a given day, and make it all flow and keep the labor together. Like it's a challenging role to be a stage manager on a music festival. And it's getting more and more challenging every year because like every act gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so when you're on these mega shows, particularly like, a Lollapalooza, like everybody wants to bring everything. Like, hey, this is our moment. We're headlining or we're the penultimate act on Lollapalooza. We need to bring our whole show. And like, so trying to flip like 12, 14 trucks on a 2-truck dock in Grant Park in a really small window of time is challenging. So it's
Would you mind
it's
talking
fun to watch, but
about that, like festivals? You got the whole loading crew and you're producing a festival. You build a stage and it's like basic scaffolding, basic LED and lights.
Yeah, I would say there's almost like in the approach we take to the festivals is and it's really C3's model. So I should say like we translate that into different ways on different shows, but ultimately production. So C3's production director, like we'll just take their shows for instance.
Yeah.
Like they build out the model, right? You have their site team does the site layout. They all work together on where the stages are going to go. And then production comes in and they book the staging company, right? So who's going to come in with all the different stages? And, a show like Lala is 8 stages. So you have, big steel built stages for a handful of them. And then you got mobiles for a handful of them. That's handled at the top level production. And then the vendors that are picked, lighting, audio, video, barricade, that kind of stuff. All the infrastructure is all handled through production. And we have a designer. So he does a lighting design for the main stages. That's kind of carries over to all of the big shows basically. So here's the festival design for this year. They try to do that in a very strategic way that will be easy to let the bigger artists bring in their stuff and things can move around or like play nicely together, for lack of a better way to say it. I guess it's just like standard package, right? So lighting's a standard package. Video is traditionally a standard package. And that standard package varies by show, depending on the scale of the show. So like a Lala or an ACL, the upstage wall, the side IMAG walls are massive. But if you go to like, one of the smaller tier shows that might have 40,000 people instead of 100,000 people, your packages are the same, but just smaller, if that makes sense. So, and a lot of that's based around budget and what artists are coming and what the show needs to support it to be at the standard that the festival directors or the company wants it to be. And audio, same thing, kind of a pretty standard festival package audio wise. And then you make adjustments around that based on the artist advance. So here's where our starting point and the box that we live in. And then we adjust that box based on who's coming. If you have a artist that wants to bring all 12 of their tour trucks and hang their whole show, we might take the whole lighting rig out and put theirs up and put ours back up the next day. Like, there's a lot of...
Who negotiates that?
The buyers, like the festival buyers.
Got it.
I mean, it's a group effort. Like production looks at it and goes, here's what we can do, can't do. Here's what can make sense in the time that's allotted to do these changeovers, like in the overnights or whatever.
Right.
And, hopefully if you're far enough in front of it, you can have the conversations with the buyers that like, if you're, booking X band and they're going to bring all 12 of their tour trucks, let's put them on the Friday night so that they can load in the day prior and we don't have to take it in and out multiple times. You save yourself a ton of money on labor. Like there's always a give take around the budget and what you're looking at and what things are going to cost and how you minimize the impact of that.
Interesting. And a lot of these artists are like, hey, we've never played a show this big or this, so we want all of our own stuff and our like that's their set. It's their it's like their design.
Yeah, and honestly, the set parts are easier most of the time. Like bring a set in, stuff on the floor. It's when they want to hang like an entire lighting package, or they have to have like unique things. Like, hey, they have automation in this rig, or a fly gag, or they want to do this or that.
Have you ever worked with Pink?
I've done that show a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. In what regard?
Well, I mean, I've been the festival production manager on a number of shows she's played, but their team, that whole apparatus comes with them, but there's some extra infrastructure from a festival standpoint that you have to put in for that to work, right? Like every festival is going to have delay towers and that kind of stuff, but sometimes you have to beef them up or figure out different things for artists like that where they're just going to fly. Yeah. That's that's the technical side of that is cool, but the fact she can do that and sing and perform cool. It's kind of mind-boggling. And I'm sure you've seen it, but
no, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, to be up close and watch her doing that, I'm like, it's really impressive.
Yeah, I really want to see her show.
Yeah, I struggle to tie my shoes and not lose my breath, so to do that is like,
Is there ever a time, in any show that you were working, where something was not working day of, like something failed or something out of your control? Whatever happened, you had to pivot. Do you remember a time where you kind of had to make these last minute changes?
I mean, there's always things that go wrong, right? Or like things you have to overcome. There's not any like crazy, like, hey, this ruined my life kind of moments that I can think of. I mean,
that's good.
I can tell you, and this is on a small scale, but like, maybe the second or third year of owning my own company, like I had a small tour going for an agency, and we were taking a structure around to 8 different locations in the U.S. for Nissan Corporation to do this, to demo this self-driving thing as I remember it. And I had hired a trucking provider, and he was, would move between the cities, have a few days to get it there, and going to the one in Detroit, truck just never showed up. Couldn't find him. Didn't find him for 48 hours. Like the whole structure for their event, like never showed up.
Did you find it ever?
We found it, but it never showed up for that event.
It was everything in that?
All the structure, the interior stuff was in another truck. It showed up. We ended up having to rent a tent.
No.
And put it in there. Oh yeah. On a Sunday.
Dude. What?
Yeah. That's a scarring one for me. And not because, one, you don't ever want to let a client down, but it's also like just.
Yeah.
Also it'll raise your haggles of being a business owner, realizing, wow, that just cost me like $20,000 or whatever it was, right? Like it's.
And that's on you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to try to pass it off, but like.
Yeah.
Good luck. Truthfully, it's not for the faint of heart owning a business. That's what I've learned over time. But the reward outvalues the risk for me in the end. But there's learning moments. What's
the SOS text that you'll get? Like, what's something that you're like, all right, I'm leaving my phone on loud at night. Text me if something goes. What is the thing that you have to wake up in the middle of the night to fix?
I mean, nowadays, like. It really doesn't happen.
Great.
I almost think the SOS texts were more for me in the days of like, hey, I'm physically responsible for all of the labor and the work being done in an overnight, like at a festival or an event.
Yeah.
But I have to go sleep at some point, right? So I've got someone there, but and they're good and they're qualified, but they don't necessarily know all the things that are in your head around how it's supposed to go that night or what's going to happen. And so those were the days where I'd get more of the like middle of the night phone calls. Woke up from the hotel of like, hey, artist is here saying X, Y, and Z, and we're not, we can't do this or that. How are we going to do this? You go back to touring and you go like, touring was kind of easy comparatively. Like, I mean, it was, the schedule in touring can be a grind depending what the artist schedule's like and how that camp is to work for and that kind of thing. But it was never quite like that. Like, I can remember a lot of tours where, a truck would break down and whatever, rigging didn't show up till noon, so everybody's behind and you're in a mad push to get it up. That kind of stuff, happens from time to time, but still all was manageable. The festival side, I feel like when stuff goes wrong there, it can escalate very quickly and turn into a lot of money for the promoter or different things. So
All right, so you started this business 2017, Production Collective?
Yep.
Started slow, then really, really built up. Did you see it ending up to where it became? Did you see it growing that big?
I mean, early on, no. I really started it as a kind of a courtesy to help Brandon Sossman, who's the production director at C3, just staff the shows and kind of put everything into one silo and make life easier. What it grew into, I don't know that I had a vision for it early on. Like, I think I knew within a couple of years that it could be something, because it was growing year over year. And it saw massive growth. Like, I was, from a revenue perspective, growing almost 100%, literally year over year over year. And that existed all the way up until 2024 was the first year that I was under 100% revenue growth year over year. So
what do you attribute most of that to?
Doing good work and putting good people out. Really, key for me is culture and the people. I don't want to just do shows or I want to be a partner, right? I want to be part of a team. So any company that we do work for, I always value that as a partnership. I treat their show and their money and their vision as if it were my own. And I think that translates to
more
people.
Clients.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's not even really about more clients. That was just organic. To me, it was about doing a good job for the clients I had and just keep them coming back, right?
Definitely.
So.
Wow. When did you then start the payroll company?
The payroll company, my partner Chris Schumann and I founded it in 22 with the premise that we were going to start servicing in January of 23. So that is what we did. And it was really born out of an ask from a client saying hey, you do a lot of our payroll already because of staffing. I had to have a hand in payroll. And they asked if we might be willing to take on all of their payroll. And I spent a couple of months, really more than 3 or 4 months, looking into it, just figuring out, is that an avenue I want to go? Is this something I'm interested in? Can I be compliant and figure out how to do it?
Yeah.
And, after spending a bunch of time on it, researching it and kind of getting there, I decided it was worth the shot. So we jumped in and did it. But I should really throw a shout out to my wife because, COVID obviously was COVID. And coming out of COVID, some people had left the industry that were working for us. So I was looking to fill a hole. So I asked my wife if she would step in and kind of take on the administrative role and help me on the office side stuff. And she was not really in our industry, had never been super passionate about it or anything like that. But she was like, yeah, I'll do it for a short time. And she's still doing it, but she jumped in and really took the reins of the payroll company. And she's the operational heartbeat.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
good for her. What's her name?
This is Kimberly is her name.
Kimberly.
And it
fabulous.
To use her line, basically, Chris Schumann and I are the best hookers in the business, and she's the best cooker in the business. We hook them, she cooks them. So yeah, that was
a line.
Yes, that was her.
You hook them, she cooks them. I love that.
Yeah, so she's really the heartbeat in the operational side of understanding payroll and how we do everything and the team we've built and yeah.
This episode of the Gigs podcast is sponsored by Gigs. And if you don't know what Gigs is yet, it is the professional career platform for the live event industry. So join as a professional, create a profile, apply to jobs, network. We have events, we have mentor masterclasses, we have this podcast, we have other educational resources. As an employer, if you are looking to hire anyone in this industry, go to Gigs, join as an employer, post jobs for free, and you will get so many amazing qualified applicants that you can hire. Also, for employers, we have our Pro Search, which is a database search that you can search by job title, years of experience, location. You can search our tens of thousands of professionals that we have within the Gigs network. We also have amazing sponsorship opportunities. So there's plenty to do with Gigs. So please reach out to us, info@gigs.live. We'd love to meet you, talk to you if you have any questions, if you want to get more involved, if you want to sponsor any of our events. Our next big Gigs events are on the West Coast, baby. We will be in Vegas on November 10th and LA on November 12th. So more information will be coming out about those, but we're so excited to meet our West Coast people. We've had so many events over here in Nashville that so excited to just finally get out over there and meet all of you. I know we got thousands thousands of you over there. So we're really excited to host some events. The whole idea of it is networking, hanging out, community, and hopefully you meet your next boss. Hopefully you meet the next person that you hire. So more information will come out on that. Join Gigs, go to gigs.live. And thank you so much for listening. How did you see the industry coming back after COVID for you specifically for these large events?
You know, I don't know that I had a lot of thought about like what was going to happen, right? I just, truthfully, COVID for me, like while I didn't love getting paid for almost 10 months, that's the longest time I've been home since I had graduated high school. So literally to sit in one spot for 10 months and like be around my children, have a normal life. I took my kids to school every day. I played golf every day after I dropped them off at school. I would pick them up from school. Like it, I kind of loved COVID, to be honest with you.
It's a good life.
But coming out of COVID, I did Biden's inauguration in January.
Wow.
I flew to Washington.
DC?
I flew to Washington, D.C. on January 7th, the morning of January 7th. That was fascinating. I've never seen so many National Guard and police and things like in the airport and like, and we were going to the mall to, to do site layout. So that was fascinating. But from January 7th till today, I haven't stopped. Like it is just one thing after the next. The ferocity that it came back in 21 and then into 22 was,
still
pretty
there.
Intense. Yeah.
When you say you do the inauguration, what does that all entail?
So for me, inauguration, I think I would have been titled as the labor manager.
Okay.
So essentially I like worked with the unions and all of the labor providers to come on site and do the site build out. So we worked with C3 on that one too. They did that inauguration. And I was ultimately responsible for managing the labor budget and making sure the show site got built out on schedule, on time. So we did that. Inauguration was the field of flags because there were no people. So we put 250,000 flags in the National Mall. I call it the most expensive aeration of the National Mall in history.
Drop some seeds in there. Dang, that's crazy.
It was
220,000?
250,000
250,000. What did that represent?
The people, I think was kind of the premise. Like if you can go find pictures of it online if people are interested, but essentially like the first block from the Capitol between, I think that's 3rd and 4th Street was like a massive flag, like the one they would do on an NFL field. Like we built a deck and put a 300 by whatever flag on the lawn. And then the next one was all this scaffolding built out and then wrapped in green. And it had 3 foot by 5 foot flags on poles for like a block. So there was whatever, I think there was 2,000 of those flags or something crazy. And then the next segment was a flag mosaic of all the state flags and the U.S. territories all built out to look like a map of the United States in the grass.
Whoa.
And then the next 2 big segments of the mall were literally flags on 18-inch centers as far as the eye could see.
How does that concept get created, and then how do you execute something like that?
Well, the concept creation came from C3, I think. Okay. Don't quote me on this because I don't know that I was in the original meeting, so where they came up with the idea. But I think the creative side, either at C3 or somewhere, came up with the idea of the field of flags and pitched that to either the inauguration committee or wherever that went, and they liked it. And at some point right after that, I get brought in with C3 to start kind of figuring out, how do you execute this? What does it look like? How many people do you need to do it? What's the lighting look like, right? Because you got to light it all at night.
Yeah. I was talking to someone recently about being a what, a why, or a how person. And I think I'm a big what person, trying to figure out, like, what is the thing? You, for me, you're the biggest problem solver of, oh, you want to do that? We'll just figure it out. How do you get trained up in it? It's just years and years of being in it. How do you know how
I don't know if there's training. You just like it. To me, it's just somebody presents a, hey, so here's what we want to do. And it's like, all right, well, let's figure it out. Like, I don't know how to do that. Who do I know who might know how to do that?
Yeah.
Or I might have an idea of how we do that. And I say, let me run by somebody smarter than me if this could maybe work or how we do it. And it really, again, goes back to the complexity of it. Is it, sticking flags in the ground is not rocket science. So we can figure that out. It's pretty easy math. how many flags is it? How many seconds do we think it will take to place each flag? What does that turn into over time? Like, whereas more complex engineering things, I'm probably going to call it an engineering firm or a staging company or somebody that's got a little more requisite experience to talk through, like, hey, here's what I need to do. Here's what I'm thinking. How would you approach this?
Yeah.
So it's I would say, like anything in our industry, to some extent, it's collaborative. Like you're putting together a team, which goes back to like everything. It's about building a team and the right people and the right culture inside of those teams to achieve success.
Let's talk about that. Say you're leading labor for this big show. I mean, you're making sure that the right people get there at the right time. They know what they're doing and they're led well. What are you looking for in those people? How do you hire those people? And then how do you manage the leadership team of them too?
Well, for me, it starts with like, who's going to, like, before we ever get down the road to like the local or whatever labor, it's like, where are we starting? Like, am I early on in my career be like, okay, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to manage it. So let me like figure out, can I do it by myself? Do I need an assistant? Like, let me build this out. Who's going to be the vendors that I'm going to bring on to do it with me? Because if we're doing all of these things, you got to light it or hear it or see it. Like, and so for me, it's about the relationships I've cultivated over time to know, like, these people have the right attitude, the right mentality. Like if it's with a vendor, like, I know the people from those vendors that I want to see back because they fit within the right temperament or skill set that we're looking for. So I think that's kind of the first thing I look at is, you know, do they have the aptitude? You need to be qualified to do the job and have the experience. And then do you have the aptitude and then the attitude that matches with, you know, to some extent, does it match with, you know, internally for our company, we have kind of a standard we want, but also does it match with the client? Because not all clients are the same, or the people you're dealing with are, you know, have unique needs and personalities, and some things work better than others. So that's kind of the key is reading people or understanding people and the dynamic that it's going to create between those people. So I really try to look at that. I wouldn't say I'm a master of it, but I try pretty hard to understand people and what motivates them and how they intersect with other people based on that.
What are qualities in people that you've seen, that you've worked with, or people have worked under you where you're like, nope, I'm done with that person. We are.
Well, honesty's the biggest one for me. Like I can't, don't embellish, don't lie. Like that's the biggest thing I just cannot deal with. If I can't trust you, I can't work with you. Yeah. So, and that's.
What do people lie about?
Oh man, the dumbest things.
Yeah.
Like just why they were late, why they did something. Like, you know, if you call someone out for like, hey, listen, you did something questionable here, or I want to know why you did this, and they aren't honest or truthful around the answer. Like, now why they lie, I don't know. It's what they lie about. I'm like, those are the things they lie about. What their motivation is or why, I don't know that I don't think any of us can ever really know that. It's just in a person to know why they did that. What
are excuses that you'll allow? Growing up, I was like always late, and it was just the worst thing about me. And then I finally, I moved to Nashville, became an adult, and I was like, all right, I can't do this shit anymore, because you run out of the excuse. Oh, the traffic. If someone tells me the traffic is so bad, I'm going to be 15 minutes late, I'm like, you didn't leave early enough. Yeah. I really don't care if there's traffic, you know?
But that's a fascinating one, because I know someone very close that struggles with timeliness, and for a multitude of reasons. But I think that one particularly, I'm trying to remember, I was reading something about this. I think people that are chronically late aren't doing it because they want to be chronically late, but they genuinely struggle to accurately anticipate the time it'll take to do something. Yeah, the late one's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and if someone works for you for the first time and they're about 15 minutes late, how do you feel about that person?
Oh, I'm watching now for sure. Yeah. Like, yeah. Particularly coming from the touring world I came from. If you were on time, you were late.
Yes.
Yeah, right. If you're not 10 minutes early,
yeah,
you're late, basically. I mean, you can be there right on time, but yeah.
Well, it says so much. If you're like, all right, well, hey, food needs to be here then, the artist needs to be escorted here then, sound check is then. And if they're not even mindful of the one thing they can control, which is when they arrive on site, then they're not going to be as diligent there.
Well, I take it all the way back to bus call. Like, can the video and lighting guys be on the bus at the right time to go to the gig?
Why are you calling them out?
The artist side, well, because they're the ones I lived with the most.
Oh,
but
okay.
the artist side is a whole nother ball game in my mind. Like I did tour manage for a little while too.
Tell me about it.
Oh, I'd rather not.
Okay.
I tour managed one group, well, really two groups, I guess. And I loved them both, but I just learned that wasn't the job for me.
Why?
It's kind of like adult babysitting, kind of like, but with no authority.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had some challenging times doing that.
Yeah. So you would prefer to work and manage the crew, those teams,
I would. Yeah.
than the artists. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Would you say it's less babysitting or not?
no, it's different level of babysitting. Yeah.
Heard.
It's yeah. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I don't know. You don't babysit the crew in the same way. You manage the crew. I guess maybe thinking about it, babysitting is maybe a horrible word to say when we talk about it. Although, some of them are babies. Let's just be honest. Like it's, yeah, I'll leave it at that. But
Done. Let's moving on. For you, in your world, in producing shows and these large events, what makes a dream client?
realistic budgets, a realistic expectation of budgets, particularly when you're doing like events, because we're, on the producing side of events, you're generally, involved in the budget creation, or you're always involved in some level of managing the budget. And when the vision and the budget are so out of alignment that it's like, it just going to create tension, because you can't do or create what they want or envision based on the numbers they give you. That's challenging. So to me, just realistic budgets. Not big budgets, but realistic budgets.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are some of these clients like just not aware of how expensive production is?
That's some of it. I think the big clients or the big promoters are people that are in it every day. They see the trends. They know where things are at. It's the smaller, like indie promoters or people coming in that just have a different expectation of what things should cost.
Can I ask a crazy question?
Sure.
What is a ballpark of an event like F1 Las Vegas? Like what does that cost?
It's a dangerous question.
Yeah.
Because I know the whole budget, generally speaking, particularly around my stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all over the map. Let's talk just festivals in general.
Yes.
Right? If you talk big events in general, like I work some of the smaller festivals I work in, and not including the talent budget, because I don't always have purview into that, 5-6 million.
Got it.
Okay. All in budget, to like really big shows where just production budget on a couple of the big ones, 10-12 million, just the production side.
Production and labor.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, labor, when you get into event space, particularly, and it varies by market, labor, a lot of times, Sanz, like on a music festival, talent, probably your biggest budget line, I would think. Labor is going to be a real close second.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're in, strong union markets or places like that, it's even more like there.
Do you feel like labor rates have increased post-COVID?
For sure. Yeah. Both local labor rates, and crew rates, just the people you're paying like through a vendor, like all of that has gone up, and feels like it continues to increase.
It
is a big
warranted?
cost.
Like, is it rising with the other costs, or do you think it's like, we can't support this? Like, where is it at?
I think coming out of COVID, it shot up very quickly. I don't know. It's an interesting topic. I think the hourly labor rate for local crew is fairly reasonable and on par for what's going on in the U.S. and how much things cost these days. I think like when you're looking at tech costs for some of, particularly if you're looking like in the trade show and event space world, like some of those are starting to get a little crazy.
Yeah.
But it's the game, right? Because you're hiring them through a company has cost on that. They have to have margin on it. Like it's a little bit of a vicious cycle. So the end user that is the worker wants X amount of dollars per day. And there's always going to be that percentage mark that comes on top of that, whatever it is. Yeah. And so as that worker wants more and more and more money, it's just going to keep driving cost up. And there is the market will have to dictate and figure out where that line is, right? I don't know what it is, but.
Well, it's interesting. I feel like if the labor side is upset that rates aren't in a certain place, and then the other side's like, oh my gosh, we can't pay these rates. I feel like there's just a lot of like kind of lack of empathy of like, you have no idea these certain costs. And I just don't think everyone has the whole picture. No,
for sure. And I mean, look, on the music festival side, like there's a point, right? Consumers will pay a certain amount for a ticket, right? And there's going to be a limit to that. I don't know if anyone's testing what that limit is, but like there's going to be a limit, right? And so that's where I say the market is going to have to dictate this, right? Because at some point, like a festival can only make X amount of money because they're selling tickets and they get sponsor revenue and they're getting F&B revenue. And, you know, depending on the festival or what it is, they might have parking revenue, they might have camping revenue, they might, you know, there's different ways they can make money. But the other side of that is if every expense, and that's what I see on these festivals, every expense, labor goes up, tents go up, stages go up, lights go up. Insert the thing here. They're seeing percentage increase year over year over year. And from what I'm seeing, that their cost percentage is outpacing their ticket cost or their ticket sales increases. So at some point, like they're just going to go like, hey, we don't make enough margin on this, or we're not making money, or like whatever. And it's like, where's the tipping point of like, then things start to go away? I mean, you see it a little bit now. I mean, a lot of festivals aren't coming back, or things happen one year, or they cancel before they even get there because they can't sell enough tickets, or there's not enough revenue being generated. So I don't know. It's finding that balance.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because we're seeing ticket prices going up. The fans are upset, can't go to as many shows, but the production costs, everything is just more expensive now.
Yeah.
I just saw Rapinoe said that ticket prices aren't high enough, and that he's like, well, if sports are charging way more, we should be charging more. And I'm like, bruh, really? I don't know. I didn't know. It's like, that's
I mean, look, I'm going to be probably not the first person in this industry to say that I don't go to shows. Like I don't buy tickets to shows. I feel bad saying I'm kind of jaded to the live music like thing.
Yeah.
Not saying I don't. I love the energy of it. I love to go see friends, but I'm not buying a ticket and walking in the front door. Like it's not my thing now.
Who would you see if you had a show?
I jokingly say, because people do ask me this all the time, like if you had to buy a ticket or you were to buy a ticket for any show, what would it be? And I joke that it'd have to be The Doors with Jim Morrison singing again and Jesus Christ as the opener live in person for me to buy the ticket.
This guy hates live music.
No, I don't. I love music. I listen to music constantly. Yeah. I don't like crowds.
Going to a show. Yeah, totally.
I don't like the front door. I mean, at the festivals, I'll go out. I watch a few songs. I'll go side stage or occasionally go front of house. I do like my kids come to festivals. I'll take them out to front of house I'll sacrifice for them to watch a show so they get the experience that I had growing up. Yeah. Right. Because I want them to love that. I go to theater. I love Broadway or that kind of stuff. So that I'll go to. I think I truly do equate it to like just to go to a show and sit out there. I can't enjoy it because it's like I feel like I'm at work.
Working.
Yeah, I truly do. I'm like, this is.
Well, hey, when Jesus comes back, like, you see a concert. Shawn will go to a show. So January of this year, 2025, your two companies, Production Collective and Collective Payroll, were both acquired by Rockforce.
Yep.
Please tell me about that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. That came about because my partner on the payroll company, Chris Schumann, had sold his company the year prior to, at the time, what was known as Rock Labor. And they were kind of consolidating regional labor companies to focus on very specific markets and really providing a better service and a path for the local labor workers to have, you know, a living wage, career trajectory to like be able to move up and move into different areas. And, you know, really Chris turned them on to both of my companies, and they started looking at it and realizing that, and I'll paraphrase from them telling me this, but really looking at it and saying that they saw an opportunity to do more than just labor and be more of an end-to-end solution for their clients with adding the payroll service and like full producing services. Cool. And the one other thing I throw out on the Rockforce thing is they had also bought a company called Theatrical Resources, which is, you know, not a traditional labor company like, you know, James Thomas Productions or ESI or the other companies they were acquiring. And so when they added us, they really kind of rebranded into Rockforce and broke out into like some more silos where, now you have Production Collective under Rockforce as like the production and producing arm. Collective Payroll is the EOR payroll service model for the entertainment industry. Theatrical Resources is kind of a standalone silo that handles like broadcast and TV. And then you have the Workforce division, which is the other companies that they've acquired that are really strictly in the stagehand and local labor markets, like building out. So I'm really excited about the future there. They have we at this point have a fantastic vision for what we're trying to do around training and creating a career path for people into the entertainment industry. Really excited to see where that goes.
It's so exciting. And ultimately having, everyone have benefits and just insurance. I mean, there are so many things that really exciting what Rockforce is doing here and your involvement with them there. So acquiring about 10 companies over the last.
Yeah, I think just acquired their 11th. A company out of Oklahoma called QSR out of Oklahoma City that, has a really good, strong footprint inside the Oklahoma, like Northwest Arkansas and North Texas markets. So
wow. Can you tell me about, the vision of all these companies kind of merging, coming together, and what that means for you personally and your companies that are now a part of Rockforce, and what that looks like in Nashville specifically? Yeah,
I mean Nashville specifically, I think, we're going to locate our corporate headquarters here. We will have a space inside of Rock Nashville in the Tate building where we will operate out of. And I think for my company personally, for Production Collective, it's really just an avenue to open more doors into like different markets and see where we can grow to. Like, what other cool, like awesome events can we create and help produce? I really want to focus on the sports and events market, because I think you're seeing a lot more and more sporting events bringing in an entertainment component and looking to do a live fan experience around their sporting events. So I think that's a huge area of growth that interests me. And I just think the doors that'll open and being part of a bigger organization and the markets we'll have access to. So
exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hop into some rapid fire real quick.
Okay.
All right. So we kind of went into this a little bit, but what is the first show you ever worked?
I mean, it was an Acquire the Fire conference with the ministry where I went.
There we go. What was the first concert you ever attended?
Now, that's a good one. I paid $14.50 to see Anthrax in Danville, Illinois at the Civic Center. And that would have been 87 or 88, I think.
Would you do that one again?
That was crazy. I have this vivid memory of being on the floor in a mosh pit. I was maybe 12 or 13. I wasn't very old. And the barricade was just raw plywood. And it collapsed at one point. And I remember seeing 2 or 3 people get impaled or cut up really bad, on the nails and stuff that stuck out of it. That was crazy. Yeah. But my other vivid memory of that concert is we got there really early. We were total punters, right? We were standing in the line outside, walked over to the convenience store and happened to see buses in the back alley.
Yo.
And as we were coming back, we got to meet Scott Ian from Anthrax. And I literally still to this day have all of my concert tickets from the 80s and early 90s when I was in grade school, junior high, and high school. And that Anthrax one has his signature on it.
Your first show.
Yeah.
Man, that is so cool.
Yeah,
what a story. Jeez.
I
and
know.
$14. Let's bring back those ticket prices.
Yeah, exactly. And there was no fees.
God, yeah, right. Exactly.
So
you just get to go to a show.
Yeah.
God. What is your, favorite piece of gear or tool that you're on site with? Something that you just have to have with you at all times?
Well, the thing I can't live without is the radio.
Okay, true.
Because it's just
a
the
biscuit?
lifeline to everything.
Or an earpiece guy?
No, I was a biscuit, but I've gotten more to I'm just the radio.
Oh.
I don't even do the biscuit now a lot of times. Yeah, just.
Wow.
It's the status symbol, right? It's not having to have the biscuit. I guess now
True.
I can just have the ticket or have the radio because no one's
you're not on the
I'm
go.
not glued to it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is when you know you've made it.
Yeah. I don't really think that's the case, but.
Do you have any superstitions about event days? Like anything, any like clothes you have to wear? No, you're just
None.
calm, cool, collected.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just do it.
I mean, I have a good story of calm, cool, collected.
Let's hear it.
So I was at a show, first show with a new promoter that we were doing, and I had a main stage manager blow up and walk off site the second show morning, mid headliner load in.
Oh.
While I'm standing with the promoter. And they left in epic fashion. Chairs thrown, radios thrown, screaming.
Oh, wait, was it warranted? Was something crazy happening?
Absolutely not. Gosh. And the promoter's looking at me like, what do we do now? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got it covered. We're good. Mm-hmm. It'll all be fine.
You just kind of let the rage happen and watched it?
I didn't say a word.
Wow.
Just said, hey, go get some rest. Mm-hmm. They left. He looked at me like, what do we do now? And I'm like, don't worry about it. You'll never even know.
Yeah.
And we commenced to run the rest of the weekend, and he never even knew. And literally at least 5 people that worked for that company that weekend came up to me and said, hey, so-and-so thinks you are the calmest MFer that he has ever encountered in his whole life, because literally the person that advanced the whole show melted down and left, and like you were just like, don't worry about it.
Did you do it, or did you find somebody to help come in?
Luckily, I have great vendors.
That's great.
And I knew who was on site, and I had a project manager with one of the vendors on site that I'm like, hey, bro, will you jump on the stage with me and let's just keep this going? And he goes, yeah, no problem. And so he dove in, and we were scrambling.
Were you crazy on the inside, or?
To be honest, not really.
You're like, we're going to get this done.
I mean, look, the advance was done. All these people were going to show up with an expectation of what they needed to do. Now, we may not have known how many trucks were coming with the next band the next day or whatever, but we
it's a great story.
Just kept doing our thing.
That's a great example of
that's the calm under pressure. Like it's just like
the show goes on.
We will figure it out, right? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
if you could put leadership in one word or 3 words, how would you, I guess, maybe your version of leadership?
Leadership in 3 words. Oh, man.
Well, I guess it could be calm under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, those would be 3 good ones. Maybe those are the 3 words. I think you answered the question for me. Like that's, as I sit here and think about that, I'm like, yeah, I mean, as I think about it, like that is a key thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Knowing that, and I feel like there's so much that goes with it of you're calm because you're prepared, you know all the right people to get it done. Pressure's always going to be there. Yeah,
well, I do think a calm presence like helps just everything. And I'm not saying that, look, as leaders or anything, like I have bad days.
Yeah.
I have things that get under my skin. You know what I mean? And you have to have an outlet where you can let that out.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have the confidant or the person that you go to and you need to have a conversation like, you know, I want to throat punch this guy, or I want to do this or that, and just, you know, get it out and move on. But you don't show that to everyone, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I like the calm under pressure.
That's great.
That's pretty.
Last question would be, you know, any advice to people coming into this industry?
I mean, my number one thing of people coming in the industry is, do you have a sense of what you want to do? Because I tell people that, particularly from a technical perspective, for the most part, and there's always exceptions to the rule, but you don't need a 4-year degree from some university to come do what we do, right? And I actually actively encourage, I have lots of friends whose kids want to get in, and I have helped a lot of them get into this industry that want to do this. And that's my biggest thing is like, don't go acquire a bunch of debt, go into college to get a degree in anything related to what we do, particularly I'm not saying there aren't avenues into the business that you can go that route, but generally speaking, from a tech perspective, get an internship, go work in the shop for a company. They will pay you to learn the skills you need to do this. And if you are a quick study with aptitude and a good work ethic, you will find yourself on the road very quickly. You'll be getting paid well very quickly. And that is the avenue that I would tell people to take into this industry, truthfully.
Done. That's the question we always get. So thank you for answering that
Yeah.
so well. Appreciate this. So
Yeah,
glad.
thank you.
And congratulations on everything. Very big year for you and excited to see what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.